This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by J.O. Garaj and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. President says he will give Parliament 6 months to agree on electoral reforms. The President to participate in Queen Elizabeth's funeral at Westminster Abbey. The administrator of the USAID, Samantha Power, had an official meeting with President and the Presidential Secretariat. Chili farmers in Anuradhapura says they are ready to supply 20% of the chili needs of the island. President congratulates Sri Lankan team for Asia Cup title. News overseas, Queen Elizabeth II's cortege met by huge crowds in Edinburgh. In sports, Rajapaksa Hasaranga Madhushan win the Asia Cup crown for Sri Lanka. Local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he is focusing on an export-oriented, very competitive market economy for Sri Lanka, as the country has the opportunity of supplying South Asia, Southeast and East Asia. Our focus is on competitiveness in export markets. That's what we're working on, looking at the industry for technology and modernizing agriculture. If you look at the region by 2050, from Saudi to Indonesia, there will be an addition of 500 million mouths to feed at high income level. He said this during the meeting with the visiting administrator of the United States Agency for International Development, Samantha Power, who is currently in Sri Lanka on a 2-day official visit. President Wickremesinghe said that wheels have been set in motion to make Sri Lanka a prosperous nation by 2048 as we reach the centenary of our independence. He noted that Sri Lanka is an aging population and automation and semi-automation is one way out for Sri Lanka. He also noted that a 25-year program has been planned from 2023, adding that Sri Lanka will need the assistance of USAID for its 25-year program to go ahead. He also noted that as far as democracy is concerned, the 22nd Amendment is before Parliament. We are waiting for the Parliament to pass it. In administrations, we have brought out the first cabinet manual in Sri Lanka. Hence, that will have to go before the cabinet and will establish procedures for the whole of the cabinet. The oversight committees are back again and will be looking forward to support from the USA. President Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to fly to Britain to participate at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II to be held at Westminster Abbey, London on September 19th. President's media division said President Wickremesinghe, who paid a courtesy call at the British High Commission, met High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Sarah Halton, this morning and extended his condolences over the death of Queen Elizabeth II. President Wickremesinghe was welcomed by the British High Commissioner last morning, and the President recorded a condolence note on the special book of condolence placed at the British High Commission and appreciated the great services rendered by the Queen to the people all over the world during the past 7 decades. The administrator of the USAID, Samantha Power, had an official meeting with President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo last evening. The President's media division said U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Shung, and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy in the Office of Administrator at USAID, Sonali Korde, are also present for the discussion. Samantha Power arrived in Sri Lanka day before yesterday for a 2-day official visit. The administrator is scheduled to meet with government officials, private sector representatives, as well as farmers and other Sri Lankans most impacted by the complex emergency to discuss how their lives have been affected and how the U.S. can best support them as they rebuild and recover. She is also expected to meet with parliamentary leaders representing various parties to learn their views on how to address the economic and political crisis in Sri Lanka. The President's Media Division also said the administrator of the U.S. aid will highlight the United States' enduring support for the people of Sri Lanka and discuss issues related to food security, fuel and essential items shortages, and to re-establish economic stability in the island. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
Continuing with more stories here at home, chili farmers in Anuradhapura district said that they are ready to supply 20% of the chili needs of the country. At an inspection visit by Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amaraveera to chili farmers in several areas in the Anuradhapura district, farmers have said they are capable of providing the country's requirements if the government fully supports them. The minister said the agriculture sector modernization project of the Ministry of Agriculture has provided all the necessary facilities to these chili farmers in the Anuradhapura and several other districts. Accordingly, Ministry of Agriculture is to provide the required technology, equipment, modern cultivation methods, new pest control practices, as well as new strategies for packing and marketing produce have been provided for chili cultivation. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has extended his warm congratulations to the Sri Lankan cricket team on winning the Asia Cup title for the 6th time. Congratulations to the Sri Lankan cricket team on winning the Asia Cup 2022. Well played, Pakistan, he said in a tweet. The second championship for today goes to show that with dedication and determination, we can overcome challenges as a nation. Onwards and upwards, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka produced a dominant performance to defeat Pakistan by 23 runs in the 2022 Asia Cup final on Sunday as they lifted a 6th continental title in Dubai. Our cricket team raised Sri Lanka's reputation in the international arena by achieving a record-breaking victory in the finals of the Asian Cricket Tournament. All these achievements were helped by the unity and immense commitment of the leadership and other members of the team. The President expressed his heartfelt thanks to all those who dedicated themselves for this great victory despite the grave challenges Sri Lanka is currently facing, noting that the common commitment made by everyone until victory was assured is a great example not only for the cricket world but also for the younger generation in other fields. That's local news for the moment.
Nobody tells time like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on the main news story, the shortage of raw materials for producing animal feeds had created many issues. Officials and the entrepreneurs in the fields of animal husbandry claims high price of animal feeds will make problems for children and they will be caught with ailments which are caused by protein deficiency. Chairman of the veterinarians, Dr. HML Piasiri, stresses that the government should take measures to provide raw materials for the entrepreneurs to produce animal feeds at an affordable rate to run the businesses. Meanwhile, the economic crisis has adversely affected for the undergraduates in the universities. Professor in Economics, Department of Economics and Statistics of the University of Peradeniya, Vasanta Atukorala says universities are now on a foot to address the issue. He requests the other stakeholders should also provide helping hand to address the issue.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, Sri Lankan citizens and residents have been given a 1-month amnesty from August 15th to deposit or sell foreign currency in possession without questioning, Cabinet spokesperson, Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said. The minister said this while speaking at the press conference to announce the Cabinet decisions held at the Government Information Department recently. Accordingly, persons in or resident in Sri Lanka who hold foreign currency notes in possession can deposit those currency into a personal foreign currency account or into a business currency account or sell to an authorized dealer. The minister said that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka had previously issued an announcement in this regard, and further information can be obtained from the website www.dfe.lk or contacting Foreign Exchange Department through 0112 477 2555 or 0112 398 511. That's on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. Ukraine war. Kharkiv blackouts caused by targeted Russian attacks, says Zelensky. Queen Elizabeth II. Details revealed for Queen's lying in state at Westminster. Queen Elizabeth II's cortege met by huge crowds in Edinburgh. Moving on to world news in detail. Russia aims to deprive people of light and heat by causing power cuts across eastern Ukraine in revenge for a Ukrainian counter-offensive, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said. The blackouts have reportedly affected around 9 million people in eastern regions, including Kharkiv and Donetsk. It comes after Ukraine said it had retaken over 3,000 square kilometers during a rapid counter-offensive in the east. In the meantime, mourners wishing to pay their final respects to the Queen have been warned to expect long queues. Details have been revealed about how people can attend the lying in state, which will take place at the Palace of Westminster. Large crowds are expected, and there are warnings for those wanting to take a part in the historic occasion may have to wait for hours and even overnight. Finally, on world news, Queen Elizabeth II's coffin has been brought to Edinburgh following a 6-hour journey from Balmoral. Mourners lined the streets as the hearse travelled from Aberdeenshire to the Palace of Holyrood House, where her coffin will rest overnight. A respectful silence fell as people waited for the procession to pass by before they burst into polite applause and cheers. That's on world news. Moving on to development news. Director General of RDA, LBS Virakon, says the rural development programs are carried out amidst fund shortage. However, new roads will not be developed at this moment, he added. But the road development will take place based on funds available at the Divisional Secretariat areas. That's on development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sports news. Cricket, a tournament that began for Sri Lanka with tumult at home and turbulence in the UAE, has ended with them taking home the Asia Cup trophy. Pakistan was the side at the receiving end of this thumping, outclassed with the bat, outsmarted with the ball, outdone in the field and outthought in the captaincy department by an electric Sri Lankan performance which wrapped up a commanding 23-run win. Bhanuka Rajapaksa formed the backbone of the Sri Lankan innings, rescuing his side from 58 for 5 with an unbeaten 45 ball 71 that saw them post 170. It was followed by a spirited showing in the field as Sri Lanka outmatched Pakistan's intensity with Wanindu Hasaranga and Pramod Madhushan taking 7 wickets between them during a listless batting performance. Cause Sri Lanka batted first and made 170 for 6 in 20 overs. In reply, Pakistan were bowled out for 147 in 18 overs. That's on Sports News.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with a 100% government guarantee.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has mandated that the non-banking financial sector follow uniform rules in identifying depositors of all finance companies. The move comes to facilitate the compiling of information for the Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme. All existing depositors shall have to be registered in line with the uniform rules. The directive shall be enforced from 31st December 2023. That's some business news.
Business News, sponsored by
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the plantation sector is looking at tapping an export revenue in the excess of $3.8 billion for 2022. The Minister of Plantation, Dr. Ramesh Patiranas, said at the Tea Exporters Association AGM on Friday in Colombo. He said that the tea industry exported a total of 228 million kilograms of tea in 2021, the revenue of about $1,320 million. Rubber exports netted in over $1 billion. Coconut exports brought in $890 million, while cinnamon and other export crops total revenue was $3.8 billion. Though there are world economic downturns and other negative factors, we are now looking to improve this for 2022. That's an economic news. Moving on to the weather update. Showers will occur at times in the western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Madura districts. Fairly heavy rainfalls, above 75 millimeters, may occur at some places in Sabaragamuwa province and in Kandy, Nuwara and Kalutara districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places elsewhere in the evening or night. Strong winds, about 50 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times over the western slopes of the central hills. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this morning at 4:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather will be cloudy with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature was observed to be around 28 Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 26 Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 27 Celsius at the time of the news broadcast. The air quality index is 26. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. Well, that's the weather update. Before we wind up this bulletin of news, back to the headlines. President says he will give Parliament 6 months to agree on electoral reforms. The President to participate in Queen Elizabeth's funeral at Westminster Abbey. The administrator of the USA, Samantha Power, had an official meeting with President at the Presidential Secretariat. Chili farmers in Anuradhapura says they are ready to supply 20% of the chili needs of the island. President congratulates Sri Lankan team for Asia Cup title. News overseas, Queen Elizabeth II's cortege met by huge crowds in Edinburgh. In sports, Rajapaksa Hasaranga Madhushan win the Asia Cup crown for Sri Lanka. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news. You're listening to Radio Sri Lanka.